Oh, hey, everybody. Good morning. You have no idea how grateful I am that I got through the changing of my oil on my car and filter. Man, I don't know about you guys, but there just never seems to be time to do that. You know what I mean? And I had like 4,400 miles on my car, and I usually change it at 3,000 miles. But, like when you do that DoorDash, I mean, it just starts accumulating the miles. So it's, you know what I mean? So it comes up rather quickly, like 3 weeks, and you're ready for an oil change. I mean, literally, I'm not even sure it was a month. Or maybe it was a month, whatever it is. But it just I'm sure all of you will agree, it just comes up entirely too quick for it to be convenient. So, anyways, I bought the oil and I bought the filters at Walmart and went through that routine because they're only $2.99 there, right? Because this little small filter for this little Nissan is like $9 or $10. I ain't kidding, or more. They're like ridiculous. So I go to Walmart and I get those. So, anyways, man, draining the oil, not too much of a problem, but I kind of did it in the dark today, right? And you kind of do that anyway, right? And then I had to get 2x4s, and I drove up on those 2x4s, which just gave me enough room, maybe about that much more room to be able to get my fat ass underneath there and get it changed. So that's the oil change story for the morning. I'm glad I got it done. And MJ has been calling me more and more frequently now, and now we are more in tune with each other. But Mario is about where I was in April of last year. He said that he had it wasn't an epiphany, but he said he realized his immune system is really, really a lot stronger now because he can dubify with someone that might have had the dreaded scam. And even with the toculationism, he did not come down with the covert scam. So this is really, really beneficial. That's where I was. Mario's about where I was about April of last year, coming into the full length of the scam, probably about May. I'd say about May, because I kind of knew too, but I needed to eat all these limes. And I remember you guys don't remember, that was 2 stations ago. That one was removed before my last one because it was removed in May of last year. And then I got my other one removed, what was it, 2 months ago, a month and a half ago? But that other one, the two channels ago, remember I was eating my limes, I was drinking a gallon of lime juice. I mean, with mixed with water, of course, every day. Remember? That's kind of where MJ is at right now. But anyways, welcome, everybody. We have a new subscriber. This guy is so bomb. I don't understand completely about Pastor 2 Liter J. I just know he's a good guy, okay? We don't always agree on the flat earth business. I'm 50.1% sure that we went to the moon, Jay. And that's about it. Because if you came up to me and you showed me proof, real honest to goodness proof that we didn't go, it wouldn't surprise me in the least. It would not surprise me in the least. Richard Nixon, the ex-president, was very aware of television and the power of television. You have to understand something. Think about this, folks. I know we're going to get into the news, but I'm going to give you a boring lesson of history. During the debates between Richard Nixon and John F. Kennedy, depending on whose axe you had to grind, Richard Nixon was probably the better candidate for conservative people. But because Jack Kennedy was such a war hero and saved all those, people's lives there on the PT 109, was it? PT 109? He was a World War II hero, and he was a good-looking man, and he projected himself well on the television, and Richard Nixon didn't. Richard Nixon came across as the stubbly-faced bank robber or something like that. It's essentially, I'm paraphrasing, but all he needed was a little bag with the little money sign on it, and it would have been more appropriate. So I'm kind of making light of that. But the point is, Richard Nixon became very aware of the power of television, and he got it in spades back then in the debates, or what was it, 59, 60 debates, 61 debates, whatever it was, right there when Kennedy won the election over Nixon. As Richard Nixon became president, we did go to the moon. And having pictures on TV and video on TV would have been very, very convincing to the people in general. And again, you can't call the rest of the world with the same category as Americans at that time, because you had Filipinos that were literally living in trees. I'm not kidding you about that. I mean, they still do it, in the Ita out there in Pinatubo at the volcano. They still do that. But I mean, back then, they still did it. Like when I left 15 years ago or 10 years ago, they were still doing it. But I mean, it was really like that in a lot of places in the world. So, the Americans were at the tip top. And now we're just another country lost in mediocrity. I know my vocabulary. I'm not making any sense, am I, folks? I'm not making any sense. I know. Anyways, what I wanted to do before I started today was to go through the dichotomy of this woman from Minnesota who got trapped in Mexico at the border because she couldn't come back because she had a positive scam test. And I really wanted to talk about that because it's really sad. And the reason I think it's sad is because my friend MJ, even though it's like I'm anti-toculationism-ness, okay? And he happens to be tokificationaryism-ness, right? So, like, we have differences upon that. But essentially, other than that, we're pretty much in line with each other's politics, except for the fact that he really understands that the galaxy is warming. And with the galactic warming, he's in some ways brought this upon us. And like I told you, I'm not completely downing him because I don't have an answer to that either. Look, it could be that the world is getting hotter because there's more people on it. It's just a natural byproduct of carbon life forms or whatever, right? But it could also be cyclical. I mean, I don't have an answer, and I'm not going to get up here like the rest of you fools, my subscribers excluded, of course, and tell you about things and represent them as fact. And by the way, MJ, unbelievably astute. Unbelievably astute for you to have mentioned what you did, what you said yesterday. And that, I'm trying to remember now because my phone just went off. Well, he sent me a couple of videos which were excellent yesterday. And now I forgot because I got this GD phone just rang. But he said something incredibly, something or another. I can't remember now. I'll have to get to it later. But the dichotomy of this woman who got stuck down at the border of Mexico and Texas, or I think it was, and she's obviously a far left card-carrying dupe who is just a member of the rank and file of the Bolshevik Party. And she doesn't care what she has to do. She wants in. So think about this, folks, okay? Oh, I was talking about Mark, and we'll just call him Corvette Mark, okay? We'll just call him that because everybody knows what I'm talking about. Just think about the simplicity of the mind, the absolute simplicity of the mind, where you can take a person who's now trapped at the border out of their country, and probably they had enough money so that they could make it. They were probably not hurting for money. That's probably part of the reason why this isn't so up in arms, or she was scared to say anything else. Who knows? I don't want to speak for the woman. But imagine just being able to use a bomb, much like Corvette Mark, where Corvette Mark's bomb was, he's happy because he would have been dead, okay? Evidently, I don't know, I don't want to give away the farm on the man because I don't want to repeat anything, but evidently because of whatever conditions he has, he felt that he would be dead. Now, this is a man that gets up and goes to work, incidentally, as far as I could tell, by himself, Okay, like I used to do. And I mean, he wasn't out there weed eating yards, folks. He was a real, genuine hard ass. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that in a bad way. This guy went out and humped it, folks. He still does, as far as I know. I'm not saying he didn't work for his money. He works for his money. Believe me when I tell you. And he's got the right attitude to say, look, if you don't want me to cut your yard every week in the summer, go fuck yourself. You find some fucking dickhead like Paul who'll come over and weed eat your yard every 3.5 weeks in the summer. You understand? So I get it. All right? I understand exactly about Mark. Mark thinks I don't get it, and I do get it. I have a lot of respect for the man as far as that goes. What I don't have a lot of respect for that is they sell you on an idea by using these simple, analogous analogies. You know, it's so ridiculous. And is I would have been dead a long time ago. How can we argue with you, Mark? Is there any way to argue with you? No, you wouldn't have been dead. You would have been half dead. I mean, it's like, and it just plays. Do you understand what I'm saying, folks? It just plays. Okay, now, in along with this, and I don't want to put Mark into the same, although he might be. It's up to him. If he came up to me and he started talking to me about this, we would find out. But he might buy into the same analogous thinking of this euphemistically put beautiful saying here that the woman said that she didn't understand it really, and she still didn't understand why she has a positive scam test, but look, she didn't really understand it. So somebody probably thought to sit down, and she probably had a Twitter page or whatever, and somebody probably thought to sit down, or maybe one of the agents that were keeping her there or something, and she ran down the typical Bolshevik questions, which was, I was a good person, and I'm not trying to be sarcastic here, folks. I know this is going to come out as kind of comical. I'm not trying to be funny. Maybe I am trying to be a little bit funny, but I'm not really. I want you to get this. That's the reason I do my channel, so that you get this. We don't care that there's 15 people or 15 million people. Now, should we have 15 million people? Of course we should, because you're not going to hear what you're hearing here virtually anywhere else, because nobody says it. If they did, I'd be listening. I don't see anybody saying anything that I say. So, honestly... at odds for, no, he doesn't say that. He doesn't say that, okay? He's talking. So, anyways, somebody thought to sit down and tell her, look, hon, we know that you've been jabbed, and we know that you're really, really part of us fellow Bolsheviks, and you want to see us go into a Bolshevism, and we're with you. But unfortunately, there's some things that you have to know about the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees. So let me explain that to you. Think of the jab as a seatbelt, and I'm not making this up. You can go read the story for yourself. I read it to you yesterday. Honey, think of the seatbelt. Think of the jab as a seatbelt. Okay? Now, you're smart enough to... Do you drive, honey? Oh, you do. Okay, so you're going to understand this. You drive. Now, what is your seatbelt for? Let's talk about the concept of a seatbelt. So the Bolsheviks, they know what a seatbelt is. It's there to save your life. Okay? Now, they don't want to talk about what happens to you when you get into a severe accident and your head goes forward like this and you get severe injury, neck injuries. Or they don't want to talk about when you can't go forward because this cocksucker fucking locks like this and you can't look in your blind spot in your mirror. I know a lot. I'm not making any sense, am I? I'm not making any sense, am I? I know. But we're going to keep going anyway, Bolsheviks. So, do you understand what I'm saying? So, as a result, you have the woman being sat down and explained to with euphemistically about seatbelts in cars and how you can still have an accident as a Bolshevik, but at least if you have a car accident and you mash the car, I have to appeal to my Jamaicans here because we might have a Caribbean here or there, and it's appropriate to say mash your car. Okay, he mash it good, man. So that's what they say. Like if a Jamaican gets their fender bent, they go, he mash my fender. So we're going to be open here to all races. Okay. Because I'm accused of being a racist all the time, okay? So all of you from the world of Jamaica, welcome here, and we're going to start using a little bit of your lingo too, okay? So if she mashed her car up and she's in it, well, if she has her seatbelt on, then it's there to protect you, and, therefore, you might get hurt, but you won't die. Or you won't, you know what I mean? That's the whole thing. Now, does that hold up? Not really, because they don't tell you. It kind of holds up by what I told you. They don't tell you about the negatives of wearing a seatbelt. Like one is you can't check your blind spot. Sometimes that cocksucker fucking freezes, right? You can't move. So you get stuck in that fucking position and you can't take a quick look. And has it happened to me? You're goddamn right it has happened to me. Man, when I got down here in 1982 to Florida, I started driving as a courier, which is what probably made me such a good driver. And by the way, folks, you think I'm fucking with Jamaicans and Haitians and Filipinos and stuff. Not on your life. I am not a good driver. I mean, I'm not a great driver. Am I a good driver? Yeah, but I'm a good driver as in like it's dry right now, or if it's raining, I go slow. But according to conditions, yeah, I can drive a stick shift pretty well. I can keep from, going backwards when I'm in neutral and I've got a clutch I mean, yeah, you know what I mean? I'm a good driver, but I'm not a great driver. I've never had to take a jeepney over a bridge big enough for just barely for 1 3/4 cars and have 2 jeepneys go by and have everybody on this jeepney sit on that side and everybody on this side sit on this side, and then the mirror is clear and then you can get by. Folks, I've seen that myself. I've experienced it myself. I've watched, I shouldn't say this because I haven't seen it, but I know it happens. The Jamaicans are some of the best drivers in the world. So are probably the Dominicans and the Haitians and all the people from the Caribbean. They have to deal with that shit when it rains. They got mountains all over, Trinidadians and all that. They know what they're doing. They're good drivers. They're not like us. We're horrible drivers. So they don't really, getting back to this whole thing with that dichotomy of a Bolshevik, that's what we'll just call this, dichotomy of a seatbelt wearing Bolshevik. Somebody, a Bolshevik, a left-wing, hard left-wing Democratic Bolshevik, was sent there to lay down the law of Bolshevism to her through seatbelt analogies, okay, and COVID-19 scam analogies. So now the woman is at great peace with herself, realizing that there is just no way that the world could go on like it did before because, oh my God, we're not ready to move on. Folks, I mean, I know I made funny of that last night, but I mean, do you understand how scary this is? I'm not trying to make a joke. Do you realize how scary this is? This is international. This is borders. This is jobs being affected because you can't, you don't even know what's going to happen. If you don't even know what's going to happen. If you travel over a border and you come out with a scam positive test, who knows what they're going to do? What's next? Are they going to keep you for anal swabbing? It's already happened in China. Folks, it is so embarrassing. I talk to people occasionally that just look like this when I tell them about like when they go and they get jabbed or if they're going to get jabbed or whatever. And when I tell them and I show them that there's a component of inexplicity to this, they have nothing to say and they just look around and they go about their business. They don't want to talk about it. When I tell them that in the Philippines, 1 in 4,300 people, if not more, are perishing from this. If you talk to them, they have the idea that 1 out of every 40 or 50 people are dying. They don't understand, because that's what's being put out there. Oh, and, well, you know, MJ did tell me, I'm not sure if this was the stroke of brilliance I wanted to tell about MJ, but he did show me the thing about Joe Bite Me coming out. And you see, he came out yesterday with this whole stupid thing, saying that you don't have to die. He's 100% right. MJ got it right. And he said, yeah, watch it. And yeah, I watched it. And it's Joe Bite Me coming out saying that you don't have to die. You don't have to die, folks. You go get the jab. You don't have to die. Now, is he coming out and saying that you're going to die if you don't take the jab? No, but he's making a strong insinuation of it. Why? Because I don't like the man now. Okay? Because of that, I don't like that. He also said that he's going to do everything that he can to make sure that he helps people or assists people or motivates people to go and do it, which makes me very, very nervous. Do you understand that? There's my position on that, okay? And I figure that's about it. I'm going to try to do half a yard here because I've got a yard here that is up to my scrotum that I have to somehow figure out how to do here. So I'm going to do it in 2 waves, today and tomorrow, okay? God bless you, folks, and I hope you're okay. And the next video will be my retort to Mario on his thoughts on our great governor, who he doesn't quite understand that one either. The governor is all for the governor and not for you, MJ. He's all for the governor. You understand? He is not going to protect and the rich, okay? He talks a good game. Let's see. If, you see, Mario, this is what I was going to tell you, friend. I could understand him getting up with all the niceties and all the fluff there when he gets up and talks about how scary this is going in the direction. You can only imagine how scary. Well, let me tell you how scary it is, MJ. You know how scary it is? If you're a police officer and you didn't want it, you got it anyway. You know why? Because they take your job. If you're a paramedic, they take your job. If you are whatever, they'll take your job. And if you flew and you required you to fly, you either lost your job and you're now out a job because you don't want to do this, or you gave into it. So yes, Squish Face, Florida Governor Squish Face, it's time for you to do something, because people are not only worried, they're suffering right now. Thanks to your inability to grab and grow a pair and grab them and go to somebody and start punching them in the jaw, which is what needs to be done. Instead of your nonsense getting up there talking about fluff, about how it's getting, you can only imagine how it'll be in the future. We don't have to imagine. We know what it's like. We live in fear every day with this nonsense. Goodbye.